All right, I'm sorry that we're starting a few minutes late, but we are just about to commence the program this evening. I would like to begin to ask the Assistant City Clerk to please bring in the dignitaries of the City of Everett. Tonight with us we have our Police Chief, Stephen A. Mazie, our Fire Chief, Tony Carley, our Veteran Service Director, Chini A. Cristiano. We have a special guest, our newly appointed Superintendent, Priya Tahiliani. We have our State Senator, Sal DiDomenico, our State Representative, Joseph McGonigal, and the Honorable Bishop Robert G. Brown. We'd like to give him also our current Superintendent, Janice Gauthier, our two Assistant Superintendents, Charles Obremski and Mr. Kevin Shaw. Would you give them a round of applause, please? Thank you. I'd like to ask now the Clerk of Committees, John Burley, to escort the City Council into the City Council chamber. Go ahead. Go ahead, Madam President. At this time, I'd like the Legislative Aide, Michael Mangan, to escort the School Committee-elect into the chamber. Okay, at this time, I'd like our Assistant City Clerk, Mr. Assistant City Clerk, would you please escort Mayor Carlo DiMaria, Stacy DiMaria, and family into the council chamber? Would everybody please rise? Thank you very much. You may be all seated for a moment. I'd like to welcome everyone to the 2020 inaugural exercises and midterm address. Today is another historic day for the City of Everett as we swear in new members of the City Council and School Committee and the Mayor to deliver his midterm address. But I want to congratulate everyone who ran, those that are here before us to be sworn in, and the ones that lost because running for public office is difficult. So, both for the candidates and for the families. So thank you for running and wanting to be a part of our city government. There is no greater challenge, and there is no greater honor than to be in public service. Our former Secretary of State, Condoleezza Rice, said these words. I want to lead by informing you that this city government will lead us in 2020 in what will be our 150th year on March 10th, that Everett separated from Malden to become its own community. 150 years working, striving for a better way of life, and a city filled with diversity, rich in history, and that is truly the greatest city in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I am sure that our two newly elected bodies will continue that work to make all of us Everettites even more proud and to continue our storied history. Before I move on to our ceremony, I wanted to leave you with this quote. I can assure you, public service is a stimulating, proud, and lively enterprise. It is not just a way of life. It is a way to live fully. Lee H. Hamilton. I would like you all now to please rise for our national anthem and stay standing for a few extra moments as we do our benediction also. With the award-winning string orchestra, please play the national anthem. Please continue to remain standing. And before we move on, let's give an extra round of applause to our string orchestra for coming up this evening. These students are absolutely amazing. Yep. I would like to now call on our Veteran Service Director, Jeannie Cristiano. She will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, City Clerk.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you could all just raise your right hand, I'll put it over your heart. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
And just one more moment, I would like to also call on, I would like to welcome Bishop Robert G. Brown of Zion Church Ministries, who will offer the invocation. Bishop Brown.
Let us pray. Eternal God, again, we are grateful for this hour that has arrived as we bring forth new government in this community known as Everett. We start off this year by saying thank you and asking you for your guidance, your direction, as well as your wisdom. Our prayer is that the men and women who fulfill these roles of office will be enlightened by that guiding light that shone so many years ago. We realize that we're in trying times. We recognize that dark days sit before us. But we're grateful because we do not live and we are not a people without hope. And so we ask you, O Lord our God, to bind us together, make us one community, working for one purpose. And that is to make Everett the community that shines a light, to be an example that others will follow, and that we will be strengthened because of thy providential care that is long-lasting from generation to generation. And so hear our prayers as well as our pleas. Utilize the minds and hearts of all of the men and women who are elected officials as of tonight. And Lord, in the end, we ended as we began by saying thank you. Thank you for your blessings upon us. For it's in the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. Hear our prayer. Amen.
Thank you. You may all be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, here to bring the greetings of the Massachusetts State Senate, our State Senator, Sal DiDomenico.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, members of the School Committee, Madam Superintendent, family and friends. It is great to be here once again in this chamber with all of you. It is great to be here with so many of our friends, and I don't think I've ever seen this chamber so full of our friends, and congratulate the councilors who are returning and our new councilors, and also members of the School Committee who are returning and the new school committee members as well. There is no greater honor than to be chosen by your peers in your community to represent you. And you have put your life on hold, and you have also had your family's backing and support to take on a new challenge in life and to represent the people of your own community. And I can tell you that we cannot, as a group, succeed unless we're all working together. We need each other to move forward. And I can tell you that your friends on Beacon Hill, Representative McGonigal and I, stand with you tonight, as we do always. And I also want to thank your family, because we know this journey is not just your own. We know that your family is with you each and every day, during the ups and downs, on the campaign trail, during your time on the council and the school committee, and a lot of sacrifices made by them as well. And I want to thank your family and friends for all that you do to make sure our representatives have all the support that they need, and for sharing them with us as well. So thank you to all your family and your friends who are with you tonight. And I'll leave you with this, because this is really important. This is your night, not my night, not our night to speak up here. But I do want to just thank all of you, because I have many, many, many close friends in this chamber. And I understand and I know how much you care about this community. And unity should be the theme of tonight's proceedings, because we have something very special in this community going on right now. Everett is on the move. We've been on the move for a long, long time. And you can see around us, you can see what's happening in this community. We have been working very, very hard as a team, as a group of individuals who have come together as one to make sure Everett is the #1 priority, that our residents always come first, that our ego is put in the background, that our own personal intentions are put beside, because the intentions of the people come first. And I have no doubt that this council and the school committee, working with our mayor and our delegation at the State House, will continue working as one, because that is how important this is for our success. So thank you very much to the residents of Everett for electing our communities, and thank you for your support.
Thank you, Senator. Let me now introduce our next speaker, here to bring the greetings of the Massachusetts House of Representatives, our state representative, Joseph McGonigal.
Thank you, Sergio. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, special guests, Mr. Mayor and Stacy. Nice to see you. It is my pleasure to be here on behalf of the Massachusetts House of Representatives. I want to thank you for allowing me to participate in this historic ceremony this evening. Everett is on the move, and it is an exciting time, but it's an extremely important era to be an elected official in Everett. It's an honor, and I want to thank all of you for the hard work that you've done to get here. And I've lost my train of thought because I'm looking at everybody here. I remember being here at one time in my life, and it is quite an honor. And I want to say this to you. The decisions that you're going to make in the next 2 years are going to help shape the policies and direction of this city for years to come. And I look forward. I look forward to working with each and every one of you. So, congratulations to you and your family. And I want to thank the mayor and his administration for the kind invitation being here this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Representative. Well, here comes my favorite part, right? It is my distinct pleasure to announce all the candidates that were elected to office. So, in accordance with Chapter 54, Section 137 of the Massachusetts General Laws, I, Sergio Cornelio, City Clerk of the City of Everett, do hereby declare that the returns of the election of officers of the City of Everett are true returns of the vote cast at said election held November 5th, 2019, and that the following candidates are hereby declared elected to their respected offices. For a term of 2 years, for Councilor at Large, we have 5 members: Gurley Adrian, John F. Hanlon, Michael K. Marchese, Wayne A. Matusky, Peter A. Napolitano. Councilor Ward 1, Fred Capone. Councilor Ward 2, Stephanie Martins. Councilor Ward 3, Anthony DePiero. Councilor Ward 4, Jimmy Tree Lee. Councilor Ward 5, Rosa DeFlorio. And Councilor Ward 6, Michael J. McLaughlin. You may clap. And for school committee, 3 members at large. School committee member Millie J. Cardello, Samantha S. Lambert, Cynthia Isani, Alan Panarisi for school committee Ward 1, Joseph LaMonica, school committee Ward 2, Francis Parker, school committee Ward 3, Dana Murray, school committee Ward 4, Marconi Almeida Barros, school committee Ward 5, and Thomas Abraze, school committee Ward 6. The above named, being duly certified and qualified, are hereby authorized to stand before the citizenry of Everett, herein assembled, to take the oath of office. We will begin with the City Council. If you may all please stand before me. Raise your right hand. And repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me as a city councilor for the City of Everett, according to the best of my abilities and understanding, agreeably to the rules, regulations, laws, ordinances, and charter of the City of Everett, so help me God. I do solemnly swear that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and I'll support the laws and Constitution of the Commonwealth, so help me God. I do solemnly swear that I'll bear true faith and allegiance to the United States of America, and I'll support the Constitution of the United States, so help me God. Congratulations, councilors. I would like to now ask the school committee-elect to please stand, raise your right hand, and please follow suit. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me as a school committee member for the city of Everett, according to the best of my abilities and understanding, agreeably to the rules, regulations, laws, ordinances, and charter of the city of Everett, so help me God. I do solemnly swear that I'll bear true faith and allegiance to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and I'll support the laws and Constitution of the Commonwealth, so help me God. I do solemnly swear that I'll bear true faith and allegiance to the United States of America, and I'll support the Constitution of the United States, so help me God. Congratulations, school committee members. We can all stand for all of them. Let's give them a round of applause. I have 2 water companies for you, too. You may all sit. Before I call on the mayor, I did forget that we do have a state senator in the audience here visiting, and I would like to announce Senator Jamie Eldridge from the Middlesex and Worcester districts. Thank you very much for being here, Senator. And now, at this time, I would like to ask the Honorable Mayor, Carlo Di Maria, to come before us to deliver his midterm address. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, City Clerk Cornelio. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Nice to see you all here this evening. We're all nice in one room together. Isn't this beautiful? If you could see what I could see, it's just absolutely amazing. A group of just beautiful people all together in one room, hoping for the same thing. Hoping that the next 2 years are filled with much progress and much possibilities and much pride. That's what I will continue to do, and I hope the members of the school committee and the city council will join me in continuing the great strides we have made together in this city of Everett. I would like to first thank a few people. It's been an honor to be the mayor in the city of Everett, to be able to serve with 2 other mayors in the building on a daily basis. I want to thank Mayor John Hanlon and Mayor Dave Rigucci for their continued support and friendship. I don't think either one of them had another mayor in the building when they were mayor. I happen to have 2. So isn't that great? I'd like to thank my parents that are here this evening. Rosa and Kyle, thank you very much for being here. My Aunt Phyllis to their left. Thank you, Auntie Phyllis. I know she's here for her grandson, Anthony, more than me, but she is my aunt still. And I'd like to thank my immediate family. My wife, Stacy, and my 3 children. Nothing I do does not go through my wife. And most of the things that I do usually comes from my wife. If it's the Haitian relief event we did after the earthquake in 2010, I believe. If it's from the beautification of our city islands or our parks or our ornamental lights or our ornaments on our lights, or if it's the renovations of the Conley Center or the renovations outside of City Hall, wherever it may be, it usually stems from, don't you think it looked better like this? Don't you think you should be doing this? It started with painting the track at the Glendale Park from totally renovating with the assistance of my senator behind me in his office to doing Glendale, the stadium, and then countless other parks. It was a conversation, saw the release of the urban renewal plan of the Monsanto property and said, you know, we have a casino operator interested in the property. Would you have a conversation with them? I said, I've talked to a couple others and I'm really not interested at the time. Well, it's Steve Wynn. And my wife said, you owe the city the courtesy to hear what they have to say and to see what they will want to do. So thank you, sweetheart. I know it's, I know it hasn't been easy, especially with social media and the unfortunate platform that people have on social media and the comments made about my wife on social media and my family. It's very unfortunate. But we persevere because that's how we were raised, to keep our head up high and to work hard for our residents of the city of Everett. And we will continue to do that for the next 2 years, and if I'm reelected, continue to do it for 4 more years after that. Pride, progress, and possibilities. Settle in, because it's going to be, and if you have to walk out to use a restroom, I will not be offended. If you have to get some air, please do so. Okay? And to those who are watching, like my mother-in-law, who are watching on Facebook right now, and Barbara Collins, who also reached out to me, watching via Facebook, and other friends, you are very fortunate to be home in your pajamas on your couch. Pride, progress, and possibilities. I'm sure you have seen this motto many times throughout the city. You can find these words written on welcome signs, on banners, and on our website. To some, this motto may mean nothing more than a string of 4 words. To me, however, this motto serves as homage to who we are, a reflection on what we've accomplished, and a call to action for innovation and implementation. Everett is driven by its residents, and is fast becoming a home to new faces, new businesses, and new ideas. We serve as pioneers throughout the state and nation. Our color is crimson, but our standard is gold. Pride. Everett is rich in its culture and its diversity. From residents who have lived in the city for multiple generations to those settling here in recent years, Everett strives to offer itself as a home to all. Everett is also rich in its compassion and understanding. Time after time, we prove that we are more than a city. We are a community. We strive to build, to excel, and to propel forward. We offer monetary assistance to assist people behind on their utility bills and their rent through the Emergency Fuel and Housing Program, providing necessary aid to our residents who would otherwise face eviction. We employ 300 Everett students in our Summer Works program, giving them valuable work experience. We have established a highly successful toy drive, which provides thousands of toys for those less fortunate. We host a litany of events around the city, from park openings to holiday celebrations, which are open to all and well attended. This year, we have raised money for some fantastic causes, such as raising money for Brandon Conde to receive the services he needs following a tragic accident. The Acelia Matarazzo Cataldo Fund, which raises awareness to domestic violence, and for the Portal to Hope to continue to combat domestic violence. Developed in Houston, Texas, Everett has joined a select group of municipalities around the country, from New York City to San Francisco, and being a member of the 1010 Anti-Human Trafficking Fellowship, which focuses on the eradication of human trafficking worldwide. Through a yearly donation from Wynn Corporation, we established the Everett Citizens Foundation an organization tasked with providing grants to organizations which further various important initiatives around the city of Everett. While we never waver in our goals to assist those in need, we have a commitment to help all people who call Everett home. With the new tax rate now set for 2020, we have seen dramatic reductions in the tax rate for both residential and commercial properties. Considering the drastic increases in property value in Everett, some of the highest in the state, a reduction in overall tax burden on property owners is only made possible through strategic planning and intelligent development. The city of Everett has the second lowest single-family residential tax bill in the greater Boston region. We are one of 15 communities who offer a residential exemption to our owner-occupants. The savings generated from this reduction and our residential exemption help to provide greater opportunities for families. The reduced tax rates on commercial properties further entices developers into our city, generating a greater tax base for us, which, in turn, further reduces the tax burden felt by our residents. Everett is a city focused on growth. As you can see, we strive to help people. There may be those who try to tear us down, who try to divide us, but we are proud and we are strong. Everett residents hold an immense pride for their city, and I could not be more proud to serve as your mayor. Progress. The test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much. It is whether we provide enough for those who have little. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Progress is fueled by a combination of innovation and action. It is with this in mind that I have structured my administration and crafted our overall goals. Progress can be viewed through a few different lenses. There is social progress, which measures how well we as a city meet the various social needs of our residents. The examples of these efforts undertaken over the last few years are immense. We have repurposed the old high school building to accommodate our award-winning Health and Wellness Center, the Elliott Mental Health Services, and program space for an elementary school. The building will also serve as the future site of a new community boxing gym, a space for our Girl Scouts, and a much-needed immigrant community and learning center. In conjunction with our school department, we are working with the Mount Vernon Group architects to assess and address the long-term needs of our school's student population. They have determined that the best solution for the time is to utilize classroom space in the old high school. Also in partnership with our school department, we intend to further expand the vocational programming for our high school, extending hands-on education for the trades by utilizing existing vocational space in the old high school. This expansion will serve as an additional measure to attain my goal of ensuring that every graduate from Everett High School has a clear future path for eventual employment upon graduation. The goal is further driven by the success of our newly developed Academies program, where students are divided into smaller learning communities centered around the career theme of their choice. Not only learning the academic skills associated with their career path, but also partnering with private businesses to provide real-world experiences for our students. I want to thank the school department, especially Interim Superintendent Janice Gauthier. You have been a joy to work with. An absolute joy to work with. Truly, truly, thank you. I want to thank Assistant Superintendents Kevin Shaw and Charles Obremski. to the both of you. Thank you for your friendship and your service. And I look forward to working closely with the new superintendent, Priya Taliani. In the interest of serving the needs of all our residents, to give a voice to those not always so easily heard, my administration is in the process of implementing the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. This office will work with all city departments to ensure that all people can access the city's programs, services, and buildings. They will also work toward addressing any racial and/or gender inequities in the city's workforce, with the goal educating and encouraging our diverse populations to utilize the many opportunities for growth and advancement that exist in our city. Lastly, this office will oversee the new Immigrant Community and Learning Center. We hope that the creation of this office will assist in continuing the progress we have already made to enhancing the lives of all our residents. To best meet the needs of all our residents, we will continue and expand on many efforts to connect with our residents. To do so, it is imperative that City Hall becomes a more dynamic and more accessible place. This revitalized physical City Hall will focus on modernization in interior gathering spaces, offering free Wi-Fi and community spaces for our residents, with the goal of becoming the true home and heart of our community. Furthermore, the innovative new design, trading in closed office departments for more open space layouts, will streamline many of our constituent-facing processes, heavily boosting our operating efficiency. Furthermore, I will soon be rolling out an ambassadorship program, or a mobile City Hall. Select members of my administration will be coming to you, the residents of Everett, to meet you, to hear your concerns, and to offer their assistance in any way that they can. Technology advancements have enabled us to become more efficient and more responsive to our residents. Our 311 department logged roughly 50,000 issues between phone calls and visits to the front desk in 2019 alone. Because we recognize that everyone has different schedules and availability, we expanded the hours for the department and are now accessible via phone 7 days a week. And as you all know, always available on our Facebook page. That many of you reach out to me on a daily basis. To further enhance our accessibility, our new gold standard website will enable residents to handle a vast majority of their city business online, such as paying bills, that will be rolling out very soon, such as paying bills or submitting applications 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Additionally, we will soon allow parking tickets and code enforcement hearings to be conducted via FaceTime and Skype, relieving the need for a person to physically come to City Hall to address their issue. Social progress also centers on our residents' physical well-being. For years, I have sought to institute robust health initiatives throughout the city of Everett. We have long been plagued with an extremely high obesity rate, particularly among our school-age youth, bringing with it heightened risks of type 2 diabetes and other ailments. Through 2017 and 2018, a community food plan assessment was performed in the city of Everett to identify the specific areas where we lacked in terms of our food accessibility, healthy food options, and healthy lifestyle education. In order to implement the food plan, I have created the Food Policy Council, who will work both with the department heads and private businesses to help create a healthier Everett. I think next year I might have to wear my glasses. I think I'm going to be 47, so I think it's time. The Food Policy Council will institute a few methods to accomplish this goal, such as expanding options for healthy vending machines in our city buildings and schools, as well as searching for financial incentives for Everett businesses that are looking to provide locally sourced produce. I've also made an effort to encourage gardening throughout the city, bolstering the Everett community growers, giving the community spaces to practice gardening techniques, looking into the feasibility of purchasing and operating container gardens, which would allow us to grow fresh produce year-round, and even having my mother teach free classes at the Conley Center, at the community garden, and at her house about the methods to grow and preserve produce in your own home, regardless of whether you have a yard or not. In our schools, we teach our kids how to do everything except how to eat right. This past summer, my administration worked to craft a request for proposal for a new food service program at our public schools. This RFP emphasized the importance of selecting a vendor who not only provided appealing and nutritional foods to our students, but also stimulated student participation in the program and demonstrated a commitment to educating our students about healthy nutrition. The successful vendor, Whitson's, has made great progress with our school lunches so far, although in my opinion, they could use some improvement with the breakfast options they offer to our students. My administration, the school committee, and Whitson's have recently spoke about the possibility of implementing scratch kitchens in the schools, serving as both an educational tool and an even healthier, fresh source of food for our students. It is done in cities like Salem, and it can be done here in the city of Everett. When I was growing up, the produce I ate was grown by my mother in her backyard. By educating our students on gardening methods and providing them with the necessary equipment, my hope is that our students can take with what they have learned and grow healthy, fresh ingredients for their families at home. Our expansive health initiatives do not end with healthy foods. Our free flu clinic is currently underway, having already administered over 900 free flu vaccinations. We have worked in close collaboration with Cambridge Health Alliance to prioritize family health around the city and to help further their Teens in Everett Against Substance Abuse by offering them space in City Hall to carry out their meetings. Because boredom is far too often a root cause of kids experimenting with drugs, we provide our students with free events and programs to keep them busy and off the street. To help tackle the growing national opiate crisis at home, Everett's Roadmap to Recovery program has partnered with RISE. We have been awarded over $40,000 to provide Narcan training and overdose prevention training throughout the city, both of which have had the cumulative result of decreasing the total number of overdoses by 26% and fatal overdoses by 41% in the city of Everett. Everett was one of the first municipalities to sign on in a national lawsuit against the pharmaceutical companies who are to blame for the opiate crisis, seeking not only damages for the lives lost, but also to access to funds to help fight this epidemic. This opiate crisis is a highly complex issue. When the federal government fails to adequately address the issue, it is cities like ours who suffer the losses and endure the devastation. While I urge the federal legislature to commit greater efforts to combating this crisis, I pledge that I will continue to dedicate as much as I can to help in eradicating this issue in our backyard. To best serve the needs of our city's seniors, the Conley Center has been recognized by the state as one of the most successful centers in Massachusetts. in terms of the number of seniors served and for the variety of programs offered. Between 300 to 400 seniors consistently use our Conley Center for its many offerings. We have recently received a $70,000 federal grant to be used on senior programming. The center's free exercise and fitness classes include cardio boxing, chair yoga, tai chi, dance lessons, and aerobics. They offer free health seminars, blood pressure checks, health screenings, and hearing tests. Subsidized through a grant from the Massachusetts Executive Office of Elder Affairs, they offer shuttle rides to medical appointments and to grocery stores. The center has partnered with the Everett Public Schools Culinary Department to provide lunch for our seniors. Further providing that Everett is a community rather than a city, our residents have dedicated over 500 hours of volunteer work at the Conley Center in 2019 alone. We have received designs for an updated Conley Center and plans to start construction later this year. The renovated center will include a bowling alley, exercise room, art room, and other state-of-the-art features in the basement level of the center, thus utilizing every inch of the building. Our Conley Center focuses on providing our seniors a fun and active lifestyle, allowing them to be physically and mentally stimulated. Healthy lifestyles can be viewed as a web. By educating our children about nutrition and by providing them with the necessary tools to grow and cook healthy foods and to participate in physical activities, we create a generation with a focus on healthy, active lifestyles. They, in turn, become parents who instill in their children these very ideals. It is never too late to learn. We have had a great deal of past success teaching our seniors how to cook healthy meals, and we fully intend on bringing back these classes in the near future. Our physical well-being has a major impact on our mental well-being, and I fully intend to transform Everett into the healthiest, happiest community in the Commonwealth. Our residents' mental health can only be heavily influenced by the physical landscape of our city, which is why we have dedicated a great deal of effort towards transforming our city to best meet the needs of our population. We negotiated a land swap with Encore Boston Harbor, whereby they granted us waterfront land in exchange for the underutilized Line Street Park, which was located on the edge of a heavily industrial neighborhood. This not only gave us the new River Green Park at no cost to the taxpayer, transforming what was contaminated GE land into a state-of-the-art practice field, basketball courts, roller rink, and open space for our residents. It now enables the land that we swapped to be developed and taxed for new growth opportunities. We have recently wrapped up renovations of Grandstorff Park, which we call Little Flo, Sacramone Park on Tyleston Street, Meadows Park at St. Anthony School, and Morris Playground at the Cavarian School. We are currently working on the redesign of Shapiro Park at Alpine Road, Baldwin Street Park, and the ball fields at Florence Street Park and Swan Street Park. Later this year, we will complete the renovations at Werner Park at the corner of Broadway and Lynn Street, and we'll start the reconstruction of the neighborhood playgrounds along Appleton Street, Glendale Ave, and Central Ave. There will also be 4 new tennis courts at Rossetti Park off of Tremont Street, allowing our high school, for the first time ever, to host tennis competitions. In total, by the end of this year, we will have renovated over a dozen of our parks, playgrounds, and tot lots across the city as part of our vision to achieve a healthier Everett. We have the intention on relocating the Everett Veterans Memorial Stadium, shifting away from the congested residential parcel off of Revere Beach Parkway to the new River Green Park area. In doing so, we hope to join together a brand-new, state-of-the-art stadium with our Health and Wellness Center, community spaces, training facilities, and a new locker room facility, finally granting to our storied Everett Athletic Department the amenities that they have earned over the years. The stadium offerings will be open for use by all of our residents, regardless of the sport they play, their gender, or their age. The relocation will not only bring with it a beautiful new stadium, but will also have the effect of relieving the traffic and parking issues that derive from the current location during games and events. The new stadium will capitalize on the underutilized parking lots already in existence around the area, including the River Green lot, the BNY Mellon lot, Boston Coach Fidelity lot, and the Best Buy lot. By implementing this shared parking during off-peak hours, we will be able to accommodate for the increase in vehicular traffic during events with over 2,000 spaces already in existence in the area without the need to construct any additional parking facilities. And also, on days of graduation, avoid people from being towed. Not all of our outdoor improvements need to be monumental to have a large-scale positive impact throughout our city. Our main streets are currently decorated with brand-new holiday lights to help spread joy during this time. The entire city has been fitted for energy-saving and environmentally friendly LED streetlights. Broadway is currently being fitted with ornamental light fixtures. Nearly 7 miles of road improvements were undertaken by the Department of Public Works in 2019, including road rehabilitation, milling and overlaying, and road reclamation work. Every year we conduct an Earth Day cleanup, where hundreds of volunteers come together around the city to clean up and beautify our open spaces. We worked with Everett Public Schools students to create 2 26-foot murals on the concrete abutments under the MBTA commuter rail bridge, where a new connector path connects the Gateway Mall to the Encore Harbor Walk. And if you haven't gone down there, take a walk down there. It's beautiful. More recently, we worked with Encore Boston Harbor and Goldman Global Arts, a respected national leader in the public art space, to bring 2 large-scale murals to life on Lower Broadway. This spectacular art installation runs more than 146 feet in length. Finally, working with our local cultural council, we hosted our first ever Everett Community Art Walk, in which art pieces made by local artists were displayed in local businesses, community organizations, and municipal buildings. Thank you. The last facet of social progress is a focus on public safety. The Everett Fire Department has recently begun the Smoke Detector Initiative in an effort to keep both our residents and first responders safe in the case of an emergency. The Everett Fire Department is offering free smoke and carbon monoxide detectors to our residents. They will even install them in your home if you wish. The Everett Police Department, yes. The Everett Police Department has been focusing on positive community engagement, hosting and assisting with citywide events, and conducting classes at our schools on various safety topics, and leading the push for transparency by publishing crime reports multiple times a week online. That was never done in prior administrations. The Everett Police Department will even have a car seat technician made available upon request to assist parents with proper car installation. To assist in actualizing their many goals, we have completed the rebuilding of the Hancock Fire Station. We are in the process of rehabilitating the Central Fire Station, which will be completed in mid-March. And we are in the process of designing a new police station. how do we afford all this? Well, we have a lot of debt falling off. So, through our Inspectional Services Department, we have made a concentrated effort to conduct 110 habitability inspections on all dwellings of 3 or more units to ensure that all aspects of the home are up to proper safety code. Our water department has established new methods to ensure safe drinking water for our residents. Methods which the MWRA has since recommended to serve as the example from which other communities should seek to emulate. In addition to social progress, there is economic progress, which measures our source of revenue, our property values, and our rate of new development. Developers and future residents have lent a keen eye to Everett. Sure, we are in close proximity to Boston, but the fact has always existed. Why then has the interest in living here and developing here increased so rapidly over the past few years? It is because we are on the rise. We are not complacent, and we are not content with the status quo. As we innovate, as we pioneer, and as we progress, we get noticed. We are transforming sites and parcels throughout this city, sites that only a few years ago seemed uninhabitable and What was once a heavily polluted Monsanto plant now serves, as you all know, as the home to a $2.6 billion resort and casino, which currently employs 5,800 employees, employed thousands more during the construction of the resort, and pays the city nearly $30 million in total taxes per year. What served as the back door of the village, home only to Teddy's Peanut Butter, has reinvented itself as an epicenter of development, boasting Night Shift Brewery, Bone Up Brewery, Short Path Distillery, the Village Bar and Grill, Revolution Axe Throwing, Metro Rock Boston, and Sky Zone. In the same area, a multi-acre container storage facility will be welcoming a new housing development. What currently exists as 4.3 acres of empty polluted lot off of Revere Beach Parkway, known as Market Forge, will soon transform into a mixed-use development boasting restaurants, retail, affordable housing, and market rate housing, within walking distance of a T station and abutting the commuter rail tracks. Just down the street, the owners of Wood Waste, a highly polluted and blighted site, are permitted for a transit-oriented development project, again aiding in the city's vision through utilizing mixed-use developments, complete with retail and affordable housing units. These mixed-use projects not only create a greater housing stock in our city, where demand has skyrocketed, they also drastically increase our affordable housing units and create jobs through their construction and operation. Just last year, the Pioneer Apartment Building was opened, and the amenities that they offer are a first of its kind in our city, complete with a spin studio, community dining area, common ground coffee shop, and an expansive outdoor relaxation area. The project is so impressive that Governor Baker, joined by Housing and Economic Development Secretary Mike Keneally, Housing and Community Development Undersecretary Janelle Chan, and our local leaders, Senator DiDomenico and Representative McGonigal, Jesus, that was terrible, and our local leaders at the State House delivered a speech on this housing choice initiative at the Pioneer and recognized this incredible effort we have made as a city to address the housing issue effective statewide. The construction of affordable housing, particularly for our most vulnerable populations, is tantamount in the wake of surrounding large-scale development. As a result of continued negotiations with the Archdiocese of Boston, we'll be moving forward with the former Pope John property to build affordable housing for our seniors and veterans. The former St. Teresa's Church on Broadway is currently in the process of being converted into 77 senior citizen affordable units, with East Boston Neighborhood Health Center finding a home at this site as well. There will be a local preference up to 70% in the affordability ranges for the apartments will be made available for those making as low as 30% of the area median income to those making 80% of the area median income. This would translate to a typical one-bedroom having a monthly rent as low as $700. In addition to the 77 rental units, the project will also construct 6 new 3-bedroom townhouse condominiums, which will be for sale below market rate, marketed for the first-time homeowners with a shared income from $80,000 to $100,000 a year. Is there a way we can open the windows, the air conditioner on in the building? They're on? You're comfortable? In an effort to revitalize the true heart of our city, we have proposed an urban renewal plan for Everett Square. The plan was approved by the City Council and subsequently by the Mass Department of Housing and Community Development. We have narrowed our search down to 3 developers, each of whom submitted plans for mixed-use development along Broadway and Norwood Street. The successful candidate will work closely with my administration and with the help of the City Council, the current property owners of the site, and the public. They will build a project that will both reinvigorate Everett Square and proudly represent Everett's downtown. As our center, if you clap more often, I drink quicker and I speak quicker. As our center of civic and commercial activity, the square provides some of the greatest potential for new housing, commercial and mixed-use development. We are already bringing back pride to the square, and there is more to come. Today, Broadway is lined with new trees, historical lighting, hanging plants, and ornamental lights. We have a beautiful courtyard outside of our Parlin Library, which provides a space for our residents to sit and relax by the fountain or to take a moment to reflect at our 9/11 memorial. There are plans to build vibrant housing along Broadway with lively commercial retail space on the first floor and community spaces and artist lofts above. The Everett Square Renewal Project aims to rehabilitate and redevelop vacant and underutilized properties in the area, properties that have long been the source of complaints by those coming into our city. Instead of dilapidated buildings that have been ignored by property owners for years in our square, imagine beautiful storefronts coupled with brightly lit windows and awnings and planted flower beds in front of the businesses. This will be an area where you don't need a car because everything you need is within walking distance. If you do need to travel a bit further, there already exists a free shuttle in the square that will take you directly to the Chelsea Silver Line T station, which will, in a year, become home to a new commuter rail stop. This is the future of Everett. Accompanied with such rapid development are some real concerns, such as housing affordability, housing availability, transportation needs, and environmental issues. Each of these concerns have been integral in my and my staff's negotiation with developers and with various levels of government. And our innovative approaches to addressing these issues are receiving statewide and national acclaim, such as the 2018 Congress of New Urbanism Award for our Malden River Vision Plan, the 2018 EPA Environmental Merit Award for the Encore Property Cleanup, and a designation as a Massachusetts Housing Choice Community for our demonstrated dedication in increasing housing options for our residents. Issues of housing, transportation, and environment are intertwined, and we have made great progress in addressing these concerns. To further address this issue, we are working with the City Council to amend our inclusionary zoning ordinance to increase the number of affordable housing units available around the city. With an increased amount of residents coupled with a much higher volume of visitors coming into our city, we need more than a transportation reform. We need a transportation revolution. Over the last few years, a great deal of my administration's focus has been dedicated to developing innovative methods to deal with this. So far, our transportation initiatives are paying off. The city has partnered with Encore to allow for a free local shuttle service open to all residents, connecting Everett Square to the casino as well as Chelsea MBTA station and River Green Park. The Broadway dedicated bus lane is a huge success and has gained international acclaim. The shift to a dedicated bus lane, coupled with new state-of-the-art traffic signal technology, which prioritizes buses at intersections, has reduced bus travel time by over 30% and has become a model for local innovation to improve transit in surrounding municipalities. 15,000 Everett residents board buses, trains, and shuttles headed to Boston every day, an increase of nearly 800 new daily riders since implementing these improvements. What I think is going to totally transform our city is we are developing center lane bus rapid transit, for which the Barr Foundation granted the city of Everett upwards of $1 million for its innovative effort. These buses will run in dedicated lanes in the center of the road. Now, you have to think about this. I know this is tough to envision and to understand. But if you put a bus lane in the center of Broadway and it runs down 99 and connects to North Station, it turns around at Haymarket, and it's in the center of the street, and it runs consistently. It's like having a train station in your city with on-level boarding, in-close facilities to board to get a ticket. It transforms your community. You're allowed to change your zoning in the neighborhoods, to build dense housing. And in that housing, you can build lots of low-income, affordable housing. If you think about it, it works, and it's going to work. These buses will run in dedicated lanes in the center of the road, free of traffic or parked cars, just like the trolleys of the yesteryear, and provide a direct one-seat ride from Everett to North Station with a turnaround in Haymarket. Helping us achieve this goal, the MBTA recently announced it will prioritize additional bus services in Everett in response to the city's commitment to the dedicated lanes, as well as working with the city to extend dedicated lanes through Sweetser Circle. This winter, work will begin on preliminary designs for an extension of the Silver Line bus rapid transit line through Everett, connecting Everett to Logan Airport and to South Station, as well as Sullivan Square and eventually Cambridge and Somerville. Additionally, the MBTA Fiscal Control Board voted in November to begin upgrading the commuter rail line running through Everett to include more trains as well as a new stop in our city. Everett is poised to become a mobility hub with easy transit access anywhere in the region. Regional advocacy is key to success of these initiatives. I am working with Mayor Martin Walsh in Boston, who is committed to building bus rapid transit lanes on Rutherford Ave as part of upcoming construction, thus enabling bus rapid transit from Everett to reach downtown Boston. I am working closely with the political leaders of Lynn, Revere, and Chelsea, as well as our State Senator Sal DiDomenico and our State Representative Joseph McGonigal, who sits on the Transportation Committee to ensure that proposed investments in the commuter rail MBTA system will benefit our communities. We are also on the leading edge of active mobility. We are building sustainable, low-cost, and convenient local transportation options to residents and visitors of all incomes, ages, and abilities, increasing the overall quality of experience and providing greater access to jobs, amenities, and local services. This year, we opened nearly 2 miles of protected bicycle lanes on Broadway and Revere Beach Parkway, increasing ridership on these routes by 50%, with over 100 cyclists per hour riding on Lower Broadway alone. Over a mile of new multi-use paths are now open to the public in River Green Park, offering access to the Malden River and new parks and fields. This summer, we will break ground on an extension of the Northern Strand Community Trail, completing the route from West Street at 66 Main Street in the back to the Encore Resort in Mystic River. The Massachusetts Gaming Commission has jointly granted the cities of Everett and Somerville nearly $1 million to complete design for an expansion of the Assembly Road T-Station that will allow Everett residents to connect from Northern Strand Trail to the Orange Line in Assembly Row over the Mystic River on the new footbridge from the Encore Resort property, a project that Wynn has designed and committed to pay for. We worked with the state to permit a water taxi service from Everett directly into Boston. In June, we launched Blue Bikes, the Boston's regional popular bike sharing system, as a means to create new and better connections within our community as well as to nearby MBTA stations. This municipally owned system spans Boston, Cambridge, Somerville, Brookline, and now Everett, enabling seamless connections for those who need to travel the last mile from the bus or train stop to their home or place of work. Shifting gears a bit, one of the most consistent concerns I hear from residents with regard to transportation is parking. Parking has continuously been a hurdle for Everett, both before and during my tenure as mayor. The time for a solution is now. This winter, we will be proposing 2 new ordinances, a transportation demand management ordinance and a new parking ordinance. The transportation demand management ordinance will require new developers to reduce the number of vehicle trips that they generate, which chronically congest our roads. This will be achieved by following the model used during the development of the Encore Resort, where reductions in parking are paired with alternatives such as discounted MBTA passes, bike share stations, car share spaces, or in some cases, joining with other developers to operate a shuttle bus to nearby destinations or T-stations. To further enable the success of this program, we will be introducing new parking policies that will protect residents of our existing neighborhoods by reducing or eliminating the availability of on-street parking permits for new development projects. This will protect the availability of on-street parking and other public parking for those who have come to depend on it. While these measures are a major departure from existing policy, they are proven to be best practices, and it is time that they are introduced into our city. They will enable us to continue to grow without further congesting our streets and polluting our environment. While it may seem difficult to perform an overhaul of our parking policies, the issue of parking is not one isolated only to Everett. Our neighbors in places like Cambridge, Somerville, as well as many cities nationally have in fact instituted ordinances whereby residents of new developments are not eligible for any on-street parking permits, and requirements for developers to provide a minimum number of parking spaces have been replaced with parking maximums. You get that? So basically, if you want to rent an apartment, you can't have a car. There are people that will do that. They'll use a public transit system. The more units you put on the market, it reduces rents for everybody else. It's supply and demand. And if you want, we'll do more PSAs about these issues in general to make sure that you all understand them. And we'll do them in multiple languages so people can understand really what we're trying to do. It is a major departure from the now antiquated method of providing increased amounts of parking, which has congested our roads and replaced housing and businesses in central business districts with unproductive parking lots. With technological advancements, a surge in rideshare popularity, the implementation of shared parking policies, and a focus on alternative modes of transportation, it is vital that Everett progresses and changes with these modernizing times. What does this change look like? Believe it or not, it looks like the vibrant city that many of us remember. Some of you remember a city where a quick stroll down Broadway or Main Street allowed you to run all your daily errands. A city where you could walk to the corner coffee shop to meet your neighbors or take your kids for ice cream. This is the type of city many of our residents have envisioned in planning studies like the Lower Broadway Master Plan or the Everett Square Master Plan, where street-level shops and restaurants flourish rather than be sacrificed in order to satisfy outdated parking requirements. This change allows housing units to be built affordably for seniors, students, and others who don't need 2 parking spaces per unit. Unlike today, where transportation mitigation for developments are dictated through a one-size-fits-all approach that requires parking and road construction, future developments on roads such as Broadway or Main Street would have the freedom to choose how they wish to provide mobility for their residents and employees. While some projects may still choose to provide parking, those that are willing to contribute in other ways, such as providing transit passes, car sharing, bike sharing, or even joining a shuttle service, will see their parking requirements reduced. And in doing so, we all win. New residents who before may have driven out of town to run errands can now walk down the block to the new grocery store or coffee shop or maybe even their place of work. Our local business owners are able to grow their businesses with increased foot traffic, and our existing residents have more local options to shop and work. By providing more options locally within walking distance, we can reduce or even eliminate the congestion that has historically come with new development. The automobile is taking up valuable land, causing the worst traffic jams in the nation, ruining our quality of life, and killing the planet. As the planet warms, we are seeing dramatic rain events and higher tides which are flooding our streets and neighborhoods. We are blessed to have a beautiful waterfront, but with the beauty comes the responsibility. The Mystic River, the Malden River, the Amelia Earhart Dam, the Island End River, the North and South Creek, and the Town Line Brook are all in and around Everett. As water runs off our rooftops, streets, and driveways, it picks up debris and sediment. These pollutants then run directly into our rivers and streams, causing toxic algae blooms. In order to reduce runoff and keep our waterfronts beautiful, we are cleaning and repairing our storm drains, installing rain gardens to capture rainwater, and replacing asphalt with green space to allow more rainwater to permeate the ground. In addition, that's when I talk about the antiquated zoning. When someone creates more units, they rip out backyards, they rip out gardens that create parking lots in their properties. It's not the way to do it anymore. It's not. And I'll explain it more as we go on the next few months to help you understand it. I know some of us here are very dependent on our cars, but the future, our children, our grandchildren, they are less dependent on vehicles. They want to be more mobile. They want safe bike routes. They want the ability to have sustainable transportation demands. We're going to do that. We're going to be able to balance that with affordable housing. It all works together, and it also helps the environment. It's kind of like a holistic approach to government. In addition, we are repairing all existing tide gates and installing new ones to reduce flooding during abnormally high tides. We're removing illicit sewer and storm drain connections. We are working closely with the new owners of the Boston Market Terminal, the Davis Group, who are investing millions of dollars along with state and federal funds to daylight as much of the Island End stream as possible. Our combined efforts will substantially alleviate flooding in areas long plagued by this issue, such as the Commercial Triangle District, where the car wash is, where Spring Street is, right? Bell Rock Street, Chelsea Street, Cottage Street, Waters Ave, Elton Street, Prescott Street, and Jefferson Ave. All these areas that continuously flood and flood into people's properties. By restoring the stream, we will reduce polluted runoff, address flash flooding concerns, and improve the livability of these areas. Alleviating these issues have been a focal point of mine since the beginning of my tenure as mayor, and I am excited that we are finally at the finish line. We are also fighting to reduce our impact on the environment. Last year, we began purchasing all of our electricity from community-shared solar farms in Massachusetts, providing us with clean, renewable energy. This year, we will become clean energy producers, partnering with Amoresco to transform our municipal buildings into energy-efficient, self-sustaining hubs. From City Hall to our schools to police and fire stations to our libraries, we will be installing solar panels, which will provide energy throughout our buildings. Any energy not used will go back into the grid. We will retrofit our buildings to ensure that we minimize resources and climate control the buildings. Possibilities. With collaboration, innovation, and dedication, there is truly no limit to what we as a city can achieve. Some of these goals I have may be lofty. I have heard criticisms from countless naysayers when proposing my vision for the Everett of the future. These critics do not discourage me, nor do they cause me to lower my goals. A few years ago, after proposing a multi-billion-dollar development to come into Everett to remediate a site that sat on polluted soil and to grant access to a clean waterway in our city, remarks that it was an impossible goal, a disillusioned dream, echoed throughout the city. Today, that very parcel of land is home to the largest construction project ever privately built in the state of Massachusetts, boasting luxury restaurants, a five-star resort, an expansive gaming floor, not only paying the city $25 million annual payments, but also increasing our meals and rooms taxes by over 300%, amounting between $3 to $4 million, and partnering with us in many philanthropy ventures. We are working with legal experts at the Conservation Law Foundation in the Mass Department of Environmental DEP to enhance our open spaces, particularly focusing on our new accessible waterfront. We are fighting hard to force National Grid to take responsibility for opening up a major portion of the Malden River to the public. For years, this company has denied the public access to the Malden River by fencing off almost a mile of waterfront. We brought together hundreds of elected officials, residents, and environmental activists to challenge them. The DEP ordered them to open up access and build a path. Instead of complying, National Grid is wasting ratepayers' dollars to fight this decision. I pledge to you that we will fight to get residents full access to the waterfront, just like they have in Boston and in Cambridge and every other wealthy community. We will have access to the Malden and Mystic Rivers. It is time Everett residents of all races, ages, and incomes enjoy the physical and mental health benefits of visiting urban parks and open spaces. We will open up our entire waterfront from the Malden line to the Boston-Chelsea line on the Malden and Mystic Rivers. We will complete a ribbon of new open spaces and paths along our waterfront to be enjoyed by residents and visitors alike. We are working with the MBTA to lease out their land along the bike path to build seasonal pop-ups and temporary restaurants. With inspiration from Encore Boston Harbor, much of the riverfront path is complete, and Ferry Street from Everett to Boston is now a reality. This same path will be expanded to create a special waterfront identity for our community with significant pedestrian amenities such as seating, lighting, overlooks, gathering areas, and connections to important destinations along our waterfront. We have completed design for a public canoe and kayak launch at River Green Park, and we will begin construction this spring. We will be on the Malden River kayaking or enjoying the river like everybody else does in all the other rich communities. We are working on creating public recreational moorings along the Malden and Mystic Rivers for private boats to dock, a project which we will be complete this summer. This past spring, hundreds of volunteers cleaned up and cleared the waterfront of invasive species to enable a clear view of our burgeoning waterfront. We're working with property owners to ensure public access to the water and encouraging public waterfront uses such as fishing piers, overlooks, launches, and swimming. We are working tirelessly to utilize an aspect of the Everett long forgotten about. Our waterways have been so heavily polluted for over 100 years that many residents who have lived here their entire lives were not even aware of the fact that Everett is, in fact, a waterfront community. Because of the work we have undertaken and the work we will continue to do, the waterfront will finally be able to serve the best interests of the public. Imagine in Everett, where you can ride your bike along a dedicated bike path, head toward the waterfront, and hop on a ferry to the harbor islands or take a quick trip to the aquarium by boat. Imagine in Everett, where crew teams gather in our backyard and sculled on the Malden and Mystic Rivers. Imagine in Everett, where parents spend their day with their children fishing off a public pier. This is not some far-fetched dream or disillusioned goal. This is a reality, and this is our future. Our residents deserve nothing less. Wise investments made today yield great returns in the future. Moving forward, developing the city's overall landscape and pioneering innovative solutions to modern-day problems comes with a cost. However, being complacent and doing nothing will set our city back. As a city and as a people, we must propel forward. Despite the fact that many improvements inevitably cost money, we have a proven track record on undertaking our project with minimal impact on the taxpayer, and we will continue to devise methods to do so. For example, let's take the conversation of the Pope John property into affordable housing for seniors and veterans. Not only will this enable our seniors and veterans to find affordable housing in Everett, an investment well worth any price, but we will fund the project through bonding monies, the debt of which will be substantially paid off by the new estimated taxes generated from the property. This can be said with the proposed new stadium. Taxes generated from the development of the old stadium site will assist in funding the construction of the new stadium. Allow me to explain how this would work. At a maximum, doubling the size of our wellness center, installing collegiate-level facilities, and building a brand-new stadium will cost $50 million. In the current market, a 30-year bond of this $50 million amounts to roughly $2 million per year. The site that the stadium currently sits upon is 8 acres of land that generates no taxes for the city. In the current market, best use development of a parcel of land off of heavily trafficked Route 16 would generate approximately $500,000 in taxes per year per acre. Not talking about all the jobs and everything else that comes with it. What this means is that when half of the Route 16 stadium, half, is developed, the taxes generated would cover the expenses of the new stadium, giving our kids, our girls' teams, the proper places to change, people to use proper facilities, proper parking spaces, to have our track team, our tennis teams, all our sports teams, our residents in a state-of-the-art fitness and wellness center. Equally as important will be writing the RFP for the future development, and we'll craft it to emphasize the importance of retaining open space and to add public parking for local amenities such as the Conley Center and the businesses along Chelsea Street and Revere Beach Parkway. Although we are a city, we handle our financial matters like a business. Our investments are sound and we spend our money wisely. By doing so, it enables us to progress as a city without burdening our taxpayers. On the topics of finances, it is necessary that I stress the importance of the upcoming 2020 census and how heavily it will impact our city. Each resident counted on the census amounts to approximately $2,300 in federal funding to our city. Getting an accurate count of our population will enable us to receive millions of additional federal dollars for us to use on our schools, housing developments, infrastructure improvements, and more. I am working closely with the school department to ensure that every student is counted. I will be seeking the assistance of our new city council, the most diverse in the city's history. To aid me considers hard to count. A complete count of our residents is only possible through a concentrated and collaborative effort from each and every one of you. Everett is an opportunity zone, not just for developers, but for its residents. On October 11th, 2019, the Boston Globe published a special report titled Miracle on the Mystic, Chelsea, Everett, and the New American Dream. Despite facing same hurdles and challenges of many working-class cities around us, Everett has managed to put thousands of their poorest Black and Latino children on paths to upward mobility. Latinas who grew up in Everett had higher household incomes as adults than about 80% of Latinas from elsewhere in the country and 90% of Latinas in the region. This success can be attributed to the safe environment we all provide for our children, the resources this city puts towards our children's education and well-being, and my administration's focus on providing opportunities to all people. The Boston Globe magazine has named Everett one of the 10 best communities in Massachusetts to live. The possibility for progress is what makes so many Everett residents proud to call Everett home. It makes me so proud to serve the residents of Everett as its mayor. Pride, progress, possibilities. Everett personifies these words in a very tangible way, and as your mayor, I will continue to make our city's motto a reality. God bless you. Happy New Year. Nice to see you.
Congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, before we head out, I'd like to call on Bishop Robert G. Brown to offer the benediction. Bishop.
Thank you. Let us all stand, please. Eternal God, again, we're grateful for this hour. We're thankful for the information that we have received in this address that has been brought by the leader of our city. We're thankful for the prosperity that we're beginning to feel as a community in whole. We ask, Lord, that you help us to reach out and behold that which comes from on high. We ask you to unite us, to make us one. For it has been said, without vision the people will perish. And so, Lord, we know that united we stand, but divided we fall. Make us become a united community. Every man, every woman, every boy and girl, no matter what walk of life they come from. We pray that Everett will become better because we all are concerned for its good and welfare. And so our prayer is that you will bless us and keep us. Continue to make your face to shine upon us. Be gracious unto us and grant us peace. O Lord our God, now and forevermore. As we all say, amen. God bless you.
Thank you, Bishop. Thank you very much. Before we conclude the ceremony, I am going to call on our mayor one more time to just dismiss the city council and school committee to organize for their 2020 session. I will also tell the audience that, one, I thank you very much for coming before us. All the volunteers, the city employees, my staff, Dolores Latanzi, facility maintenance, Assistant Superintendent Charles Obremski, the high school string orchestra, and all who made this inaugural and midterm a great success. Good luck and great success in the 2020-2021 year. Mr. Mayor, if you could come before us and dismiss the members.
Members of the City Council School Committee, I would look forward to working with you in 2020. I know it's time for you to organize. I wish you a great year and a productive year. God bless you all.
And before the City Council organizes, I do ask all the audience to just hold on a moment as the dignitaries leave. And please note that on behalf of the Mayor, the City Council and School Committee, we do have refreshments offered by the amazing culinary students at Everett High School in the Kavarian room and the Mayor's Conference room, the next couple rooms over to my left. So please feel free, once the dignitaries have left the room, to go over and enjoy yourself. God bless the city of Everett, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you. Okay, could everyone, attention everyone. I know we want to say our congratulations to the City Council and School Committee, but could we allow the City Council to organize very briefly? Then they'll be able to join you down in the Cavarian room. So if everyone would that's staying here, take their seats so we can organize for the 2020 year. Thank you.
Hi, Leslie. How are you? I'm good. Good to see you.
See you. That's great. I had to get Linda up to Chelsea first.
Could I have all of the City Council members please take their seat so we can organize all the City Council members? Anyone that is not a City Councilor, if they could please leave this just area
Yeah, we have
when
to
they have
organize.
and
I'm sorry.
we will talk. You'll be able to speak with the members in a few moments.
If we could please have all the city councilors come back to their seat.
I can't see that without glasses. Yeah, I know it's a little bit. Oh, yeah. Well, that, my son could say it's his, you know. That was 173. Oh, because he had 173 Main Street, too. I think they should have said, take off the
Right
first
there.
Monday of January in 2020. You know, because, I mean, even though it's signed down here, you know, but it doesn't say.
3 minutes. This is going to be 3 minutes.
Where'd she go?
City clerk,
Sorry, Madam Chairman.
please start the meeting.
I will call the City Council organizational meeting to order. The roll call, Councilor Adrian. You want to hit the button so they can hear you.
Right the bottom, yes, I'm sorry. Press the bottom.
It'll turn green.
Once it turns green.
Here.
There you go.
Councilor Adrian present. Councilor Capone.
Here.
Councilor DePiero.
Here.
Councilor Hanlon.
Here.
Councilor Lee.
Here.
Councilor Marchese.
Here.
Councilor Martins.
Here.
Councilor Martins present. Councilor Matusky. Councilor McLaughlin.
Here.
Councilor Napolitano.
Here.
And Councilor DeFlorio.
Here.
Excuse me. 11 members present. We do have a quorum. We've already risen for the
We've already
flag.
saluted the flag, so the clerk, please read the first item on the agenda.
Item number 1, to adopt the 2019 rules of the City Council as the City Council rules for the year 2020.
Favorable action, Madam Chairwoman.
I favor action. I do have a second. Please, clerk, call the roll.
Councilor Adrian.
Yes.
Yes.
Councilor Capone.
Yes.
Councilor DePiero.
Yes.
Councilor Hanlon.
Yes.
Councilor Lee.
Yes.
Councilor Marchese.
Yes.
Councilor Lee, did you? Okay, Councilor Marchese said yes. Councilor Martins. Councilor Matusky. Councilor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Councilor Napolitano.
Yes.
And Chairperson DeFlorio.
Yes.
11 members, 11 yeas, 0 nays. You have so passed that order. Item 2 is to elect a president of the City Council for the year 2020.
Move to open nominations.
Second.
motion.
I have a move to open nomination. I do have a second.
Second's here.
Yep.
Council DePiero.
Madam Chairwoman, I would like to nominate you this evening, Councilor Rosa DeFlorio. You know, I have two grandmothers at home, but you've kind of been my grandmother here, and have always. I say
You
that
have to
because
give my age away.
I know I have young parents. I have young parents and grandparents, but you're someone that immigrated to this country. You started your own business. You raised 3 wonderful boys, and you have a 5 wonderful boys. My apologies. You truly exemplify the American dream, and I can't think of someone to lead this diverse body with the experience that you have, and I nominate you for the position.
Thank you, Councilor.
Second.
Councilor Hanlon.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I rise to second the nomination of Councilor DePiero, and that's to have you as our chairman for the year of 2020. And I only do this because of the fact that I know you so well. I've been to your home so many times. I feel like I'm a relative. And of course, one of my functions with you is to make sure that you get home on these bad nights, because I have to give you a ride home. And that's where she gives me her instructions. So I know that she's a good, fair person, and she'll be a good, fair president for this group.
Thank you. Councilor Marchese.
Yes, I also would like to nominate Councilwoman DeFlora. She's proven herself for the past couple of years, well, for a while, as a leader here in the council. She's a heck of a nice friend of mine, and I'm sure her leadership will bring this council forward to great things for the next year. And, good luck to you.
Thank you, Councilor. Thank you for the kind words.
Motion to close nominations?
I have a motion to close nomination. I do have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have closed nomination.
Process now for anyone, just so you know, I will call you on your name, and you will state the name of the person that you wish to vote for.
If you don't want to say a name, can you say something else?
There's been no other nominations, so it would be like a vote. I would say, yeah, I'm just present, I would say. You'll be the first.
Okay.
Councilor Adrian.
Present.
Councilor Capone.
Councilor Rosa DeFlorio.
Councilor DePiero.
Councilor DeFlorio.
Councilor Hanlon.
Councilor DeFlorio.
Councilor Mr. Lee. Councilor Lee.
Councilor DeFlorio.
Councilor Marchese.
Councilor DeFlorio.
Councilor Martins.
Councilor DeFlorio.
Councilor Matusky.
DeFlorio.
Councilor McLaughlin.
Councilor DeFlorio.
Councilor Napolitano.
Councilor DeFlorio.
And Councilor DeFlorio.
Councilor DeFlorio.
10. Sorry for that. That was 10 votes for Councilor DeFlorio, no votes against Councilor DeFlorio. So 10-0. Councilor DeFlorio has been nominated as the president for 2020. Congratulations.
Thank you. And thank you. Happy New Year and welcome aboard.
Item number 3.
I'd like to thank everybody for their vote of confidence, and I hope that we can all get along, make the right choices for the people of the city of Everett. Thank you again for your kind words, and thank you for your vote. Clerk will read item number 3.
Item number 3, Madam President, to elect a clerk of committees for the year 2020 and 2021.
Council McLaughlin?
Madam
wanna
Chairwoman.
Open nominations first.
Open up nominations for the clerk.
Second motion.
I have a motion to open nomination. I do have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay.
Madam
Councilor
President,
McLaughlin?
I would like, it gives me great honor this evening to place in nomination a 40-year-plus individual that has dedicated his life to the city of Everett and has made a difference beyond measurable approach in our community. Somebody that I look up to, I consider a mentor, a friend, and somebody that I truly consider like family, and that is Mr. John Burley, our Clerk of Committees.
Do I have a second?
I would also like to nominate Mr. Burley. He's been a personal friend of mine, classmate, and good friend over the past 40, 50 years. And I'd also like to nominate and second, if I have to second, the motion.
Move to close nominations?
I have a, Council Capone one.
Well, thank you. I don't want to belabor it, but we all know the work that John does up here. I can't believe I served with you back in the 90s, John. So I've known you for a very long time.
You're calling me Grandma?
I didn't call you Grandma. But thank you for everything you do for the council, for the membership. It's an excellent choice, and I wholeheartedly support it.
I agree. We would never be able to run a meeting without John here. He's great, and we all love him. So I have a motion to close nomination. I do
Second.
have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The clerk will read the roll.
Counselor Adrian. Counselor Capone.
John Burley.
Counselor DePiero.
John Burley.
Counselor Hanlon.
John Burley.
Counselor Lee.
John Burley.
Counselor Marchese.
John Burley.
Counselor Martins.
John Burley.
Counselor Matusky. Counselor McLaughlin.
John Burley.
Counselor Napolitano.
John Burley.
And President DeFlorio.
John Burley.
You have 11 votes for Mr. Burley, none against. Congratulations, Mr. Burley. And the fourth and final item, Madam President. The President of the City Council to appoint 3 members of the City Council to serve as messengers to notify His Honor the Mayor of their organization.
I will choose Council John Halen, Councilor Jimmy Triley, and Councilwoman Stephanie Martins.
All the,
And what's the name
Motion to adjourn?
thank you.
I have a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have adjourned.
Thank you very much.
Is he eating? What?
Push this when you need to use it. Sure, everyone sit.
Jan, you have the oath that I'm supposed to do to you?
There you go.
How long does it stay on?
It stays on as long as you keep it on. Good, Mr. Chairman, just tell them to open, you're opening the meeting.
The Everett School Committee is now in session. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Aprizes? Here. Mr. Barros? Here. Ms. Cadillo? Here. Ms. Lambert? Here. Mr. LaMonica? Here. Ms. Murray? Here. Mr. Parker?
Here.
Ms. Sarni? Here. And Mr. Panarisi?
Here.
All present.
Thank you. All 9 members are present. I will now open up the session for office of chairman. Mr. Parker.
Mr. Chairman, our rules state that our chairperson can serve 2 consecutive terms, and I'd like to take advantage of that by nominating Mr. Tom Aprizet as our chairman. A year ago, we organized, and we needed to organize because we were disorganized because of what happened in the prior month. And through some parliamentary manipulation, somehow Tom walked in, not knowing he'd be chairperson, and walked out being the chairperson and saying what happened. Little would we have known at that night that back then he was the right man at the right time for the right job. 35 years of experience as an attorney in the Massachusetts correction system. Over the past year, what he's done for this community will never be fully known or really appreciated as he guided us through the court system. We had a stalemate with the teacher's contract at 300 days without moving. That got resolved, new food service contract, implementation of the task force recommendations, and finally the superintendent search. And he did it at times at the expense of his family, but throughout the whole time he was steadfast, he was a rock, provided guidance, provided leadership, and the job's not done. And it's my honor and privilege to ask that you join me tonight to vote for Tom Aprizet as chairman for 1 more year.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Roll call vote.
Move that nominations be closed.
Second.
Nominations are closed. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Barros?
Yes.
Could you say the name, please?
Well, that's the motion for the nomination to close or the motion to vote for Mr. Aprizet?
To vote for Mr. Aprizet.
To vote for Mr. Aprizet, yes. Mr. Tom Aprizet.
Millie?
Happily so.
Mrs. Cadillo? Ms. Lambert?
Mr. Abraze.
I didn't hear.
Mr. Abraze.
Mr. LaMonica? Ms. Murray?
Mr. Abraze.
Mr. Parker?
Mr. Aprizet.
Thank you. Ms. Sarni?
Mr. Abraze.
And Mr. Panarisi?
Mr. Abraze.
And Mr. Aprizet?
Last year I abstained, but this year I'm actually going to vote for myself.
Okay, 9 in the affirmative.
Okay. Yes.
Mr. Abraze, you are chairman once again, and with our pleasure.
Just want to say a funny thing happened today. I started to write down a few words in terms of the potential for this happening, where I didn't have an opportunity last year to write down any words. Unfortunately, based on a lot of the stuff that transpired over the past year, when I started to write some things, for whatever reason, my pen constantly might have started off positive, but all of a sudden, things started turning into a negative. Unfortunately, maybe it's I'm getting sensitive in my old age, but even tonight, there was some sort of a negative spin put on something again tonight. And all I can tell you, as chairman for this year, I'm going to move past all this negative stuff. I'm going to move forward, have it be positive. Great school committee, very, very exciting. It's exciting to see different faces that have already given me some great advice. It's been taken to heart. I'm not going to try to be Captain Kirk as much as I'm going to channel my inner Spock. Thank you, Dana, for that. And Samantha, thank you for everything you've already told me. But long story short, unlike last year, did not know what to expect. This year, I think I got a better handle, and I just promise you, I'll do my best. Like I've always told everybody, this America, I hope everybody feels free to speak when we're at our meetings. Say whatever you feel. I mean, believe me, going back to last year, what took place, a lot of times it got heated. And it's okay to get heated at meetings. It's okay when it's heating about something you're passionate about. I don't think it's okay to get heated when things get personal. And I hope we all sort of, look at our rules in terms of the fact that stuff isn't supposed to be personal. And we're elected officials. We're here to do the bidding of the people in Everett. And, we're actually to do the bidding of the kids from Everett, the students from Everett. That's what it's supposed to be about. So I can certainly understand why people could get passionate about that subject, but as long as we're passionate in the right way, I think everything will work out just fine. So, like I said, that's my guarantee to you, is that I'll do my best and try to maintain my composure. I lost it one year, and I am promised, my wife told me promise, and that will never happen again. If I channel my inner Spock, and that's what I'm going to try to do. So, thank you.
She'll be watching from home.
Yeah, that's right. She does. So, again, thank you. It's an honor and a privilege to be in this position. But the one thing I want to emphasize, like I've told everybody all along throughout this whole past year, I'm just one of 9 people. I mean, it's all of us working together, working with the city council, working with the mayor, working with the administration, and on down the line, working with the principals and the teachers, which I hope we do a little bit more of in the future too. But again, thank you so much. I hope I'll make you proud in this last year as chairman. And I promise it will be my last year as chairman. I'm not going to be looking at any amendments or anything like that, okay? So, and with that, now right now, do we go to vice chairman, or do I do the oath of to the secretary? So I'll entertain motions for vice chairman. Mr. Barrows.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to nominate Mr. Frank Parker to be the vice chairman of the school committee this year. As you know, as we all know, Mr. Parker has worked pretty close with you and all of us, especially those who were in the search committee for the new superintendent, but also he's very passionate about everything that the school committee does. His work with the STEM program, once that started, I actually recently asked Mr. Parker, so you've been in the school committee for 8 years? He's like, no, 18. I was like, what, 18?
And
It's because you look so young, you had a hard time figuring that out.
yeah, just the look, Mr. Chairman. And he has worked closely with the Mass Association of School Committee on new updating our rules, on bringing for the second time. I can only say for the second time because I've been in the school committee for 2 years only. The charting our course. That's one of those benefits when you speak English as a second language. When you don't say the word correctly, just ask to clarify. So for that and for so much that he has done, I move to nominate Mr. Parker to be the vice chairman of the school committee this year.
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded to nominate Frank Parker to be the vice chairman of the school committee. Any other nominations?
Second.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to close nominations. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Barros,
Mr. Parker.
Mrs. Cardillo, Mrs. Lambert,
Mr. Parker.
Mr. LaMonica. Mr. Parker. Mrs. Murray,
Mr. Parker.
Mr. Parker,
Mr. Parker.
Ms. Sarni,
Mr. Parker.
Mr. Panarisi,
Mr. Parker.
and Mr. Abrazes.
Mr. Parker.
9 in the affirmative for Mr. Parker.
And so we have elected Frank Parker vice chairman.
Mr. Parker, you should move to the vice
Oh,
chairman
you're gonna
chair.
sit there, you can sit
Is
there,
there a
but
microphone,
the
or-
floor is yours. Come take this, Mike.
Okay. Thank you all. It's an honor and privilege to always have the support of your colleagues as we enter a new year. I want to thank the voters, first and foremost. Result of the re-election, I want to have the opportunity to be here tonight. Of course, I have to thank my wife Kathleen for always being and keeping me in check too, along with my mother who's watching from home, and my sons Matt and Nick. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Pat Garino. We just lost Pat a couple weeks ago. My name was Pat the Tailor on Broadway because 35 years ago, I took that seat where Joe LaMonica's sitting as a 25-year-old who just was elected to the Common Council representing Ward 3. And Pat, who was a friend, a supporter, and a critic, said to me when the papers came out, "Hey, there's an open seat in Ward 3. Why don't you run?" I said, "You think?" He goes, "What do you got to lose?" Here we are, because of Pat Garino. But with that, I envision this role as being vice chairman as kind of a continuation with some of the other stuff that we started a year ago, which is being open and more responsive and accessible to the community. What that means is better rules, more training, such as charting the course that Mr. Barrows mentioned that we'll be doing on Saturday. Using our expanding relationship with the MSAC to bring other workshops to town. For the new members, to also to us veterans, to get us up to date what's going on with stuff such as the Student Opportunity Act, and then this is a complicated job. There is so many parts to the puzzle or the rubric. That's the Everett Public Schools. You've got STEM, you've got preschool, you've got CTE, you've got social emotional learning. It just goes on and on and on. And one of the challenges, I think, as a school committee member is, trying to be a generalist where you know a little bit about everything. I think our challenge this year, especially with the makeup that we have, is that we all become a subject matter expert, an SME, in certain aspects of the schools, whether it's STEM, whether it's ELL, whether it's SPED, curriculum, those type of things. And, as you decide, where you want that path to take you, let me know, because I'll make sure you got the resources along with the chairman to help you with that. So thank you for this opportunity. I'm really excited about the next 12 months, and I'm here to help. Thank you.
Roll Tide.
All right. want the seat.
You sit there.
I haven't sat here since 1992.
At this point in time, you see, the oath has to be administered to the secretary. Ms. Scott, we're standing. Does this work like this?
I have no idea.
Oh, come on up, come on up. Just like this, Michael?
Do Sinatra.
Okay, all right, now I'm gonna slow it down. Last time I did this, that's good like that? Last time I did this, I said about half of it, and, okay, we got through it. Okay. I
I, Janice Scofield,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent
all the duties incumbent
upon me
upon me
as Secretary of the Everett School Committee,
as Secretary of the Everett School Committee,
to the best of my abilities and understanding,
to the best of my abilities and understanding,
agreeably to the rules
agreeably to the rules
and regulations of the Everett School
and
Committee,
regulations of the Everett School Committee,
of the Constitution and laws
of the Constitution and laws
of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
and the ordinances of the City of Everett.
and the ordinances of the City of Everett.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Mr. Chairman, may I say a few words?
Surely.
So for the new members of the school committee, in my former role as director of curriculum, I have a vast knowledge base of all the programs that run in the city, grade levels. I serve pre-K to 12. So please, I've reached out to the new members. Please call me, make an appointment. I'll take you anywhere you have to go, give you any kind of background information you need. And that goes for the oldies but goodies as well.
Thank you, Mrs. Gauthier. Adoption of the rules and regulations.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we adopt the rules and regulations of the school committee for calendar year 2020.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adopt the rules and regulations of the Everett School Committee for the calendar year 2020. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. As to the appointment of the subcommittees, I wrote it up today based on some people had emailed me their preferences. Lauren is not here tonight.
No.
I've got a copy of it here. Anybody wants to look at what I've done? If not, I tried to spread the wealth, and I tried to do what Mr. Parker suggested in terms of, I believe, some people have areas of expertise, and I tried to put you into those various subcommittees. But so that'll be written up and actually available at the next school committee meeting.
May I ask a question?
Go ahead, Ms. Murray.
Is it possible to revisit the subcommittees? Because I feel like there's some redundancy and also some omissions.
Yeah, Mr. Parker.
You're absolutely correct. So when I mentioned better rules, I also better committee structure. There's some stuff that's out here that's never met in my lifetime, and yet there's certain deficiencies that I've seen that have gone to the websites for the committees normally period. So that's one of the, we need to overhaul the rules, overhaul the committee structure, and that'll be fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, classic example of that was Mrs. Gauthier emailed me about other towns, cities have, for instance, subcommittee on personnel. And technically,
Right, and instead we have it all parsed out.
Technically, we've got custodians, we've got teachers, administrators, we've got.
And by contrast, we also have a subcommittee for SPED, but we don't have one for ELL.
Very good, very good.
Which is
Absolutely.
problematic.
Absolutely, absolutely. Ms. Cardella.
If we don't meet again for a couple of weeks in the regular meeting, we need to announce the subcommittee, such as tonight, and it's
Finance, correct.
So if we could possibly have this may, it's going to be amazing to make a copy of that for us, we can have that and that'll be our guide for now. And then as we reconstruct the rule and add and subtract and modify any of the committees we have, at least we have something to start with.
Something,
if we need something now.
Excellent. Okay. Mayor, possible? Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. Again, just so, like, there's somebody crossed out on there, was just, I didn't want to give somebody too many, and believe me, there was no, there was thought that went into it, but it wasn't such deep thought that, you know, again, anybody wants to switch or move on to them, believe me, nothing personal, that's all, okay? But at the same time, we have to clean that up too, Mr. Parker, in terms of the,
Yeah, but that's going to be 6 months.
that's going to be right, that's going to be down the road.
Reorganizing and accepting new committees. The rules first and committees will probably get second by now, this time next year. So, on the appointment of subcommittees, I make a motion that, you know, refer the list to the secretary, and the superintendent, to have her distribute the mail.
Second.
Second. Motion made and seconded to, for the list of subcommittees to go to the secretary, and they'll be sent out by mail. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Roman numeral 1, reading of the records from December 16th and December 19th, 2019.
Move to waive the reading and place on file.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to waive the reading of the records from those two meetings and place them on file. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Roman numeral 2, reporter to superintendent, Mrs. Gauthier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, two versions of the agenda went out. On one of them I signed. I was out for a time last week. My husband had some surgery, so it got kind of confusing. I was handed the agenda and I just signed it hastily. I did question why it was so long for such a meeting like this. So after I had left, I spoke with Mr. Aprizes, and Mr. Shaw and Mr. Abramsky and we worked via the phone to cut back on it. So you should have the abbreviated agenda, and I apologize for the confusion. So item number 1, it says update on contract. It should just be, this is for informational purposes, with the Student Opportunity Act coming along. Our responsibility, and we're going to be working with the school committee members on this as well, is to devise a 3-year plan. I liken it to the district improvement plan, but let's see what it's all about. So funded through Title II, it's Title II grant funded, Fund Code 140. We will be paying to bring in a consultant, Rebus Associates, so I included the information that they sent to me for your consideration. I've already signed the contract because it was funded through a grant, and it is a necessity that's coming along. So I'll send along updates to you. I'll invite you to come in for some of our meetings, and it's very interesting work. So it's all about the kids and what we can do to raise them. You have a question?
Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Lambert.
I did have a question regarding this because, as you know, with the Student Opportunity Act, part of the directive to the district is that it's developed by the superintendent in consultation with the school committee, but also considers input and recommendations from parents and community stakeholders, including but not limited to CPAC and the ELPAC. So are they?
That's why we have the consultant.
So I just wanted to make sure that entailed, because we only have one CPAC meeting before the April 1st deadline, and
we have to work fast on it.
Exactly.
So I just wanted to make the information available to you, and I'll be in touch with meetings. We'll have some meetings when we're sure that you can attend later on in the evening. They won't all be during the school day. So maybe we could get a select group to participate on that. I don't know. Let me talk to the consultant, and he's raring to go. So he's a former superintendent in Lexington, Dr. Paul Ash. He's very well known. He works for Rebus Associates. I trust them wholeheartedly. We've used them before for professional development. So
thank you.
Okay. And items number 2, 3, and 4. I'd like to take collectively and request favorable action. So item number 2 is a request from Mr. William Donahue.
Well, Ms. Guthrie, we need a second on that. We need a motion and a
I'm
second.
sorry.
That's all right. Yeah. So motion made and seconded to take items 2, 3, and 4 and move favorable action. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, so item number 2 is a request from Mr. William Donahue, Director of Special Education, for permission to hold 2 additional Special Education Parent Advisory Council meetings on Wednesday, February 5th, and Wednesday, April 1st, both 2020, from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Madeline English School. Item number 3 is the request from Ms. Julianne Whitson, Health Coordinator for the Cambridge Health Alliance, to use Everett High School to implement their upcoming Photo Voice project. And item number 4 is the acceptance of the following school council minutes: George Kaverian School, Thursday, December 12th, 2019. And item number 5, it should be the proposed date of the next school committee meeting, because January 20th is Martin Luther King Day. So I don't know if you want to have it
Does anybody have any strong
Tuesday
feelings
night
on
or-
is Tuesday good for everybody? Someone
Yeah.
wants to make a motion for that to
Move to have
happen?
our next school committee meeting, regular meeting of the school committee on January 21st, 2020.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded for our next school committee meeting to be on Tuesday, January 21st, as opposed to the 20th. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Items submitted by Roman numeral 3, items submitted by school committee members, there are none. Roman numeral 4, subcommittee report, Committee on Finance, Mr. Parker. I have the sheet right here, sir.
I make a motion to accept minutes of written reports on file with the finance committee held
Thank you.
January 6th.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to waive the minutes of the Finance Committee meeting from tonight and place them on file. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
I entertain a motion to accept building payrolls in the amount of $1,558,047.70.
So move.
Motion made and seconded to accept bills and payrolls in the amount of $1,558,047.70.
Bills and payrolls in the amount of $1,558,047.70.
Second motion, roll call vote, please, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Motion made and seconded to pay bills and payrolls in the amount of $1,558,047.70. Roll call vote, please, Mrs. Gauthier.
Mr. Barrows?
Yes.
Mrs. Cadillo?
Yes.
Mrs. Lambert?
Yes.
Mr. LaMonica?
Yes.
Ms. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mrs. Sarni?
Yes.
Mr. Panarisi?
Yes.
Mr. Aprazay?
Yes. 9 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. Motion passes. Before I entertain motion to adjourn, I just, for old members and new members, please advise me as soon as possible if there's specific dates next week that are not good for you, because we need to have at least one executive session meeting to go over between the litigation and a bunch of other things that I think you have to be made aware of that are going on here in the Everett Public Schools. So be a night next week from Monday to Thursday. Just let me know if there is a date that you absolutely cannot make. I'll contact Attorney Bob Galvin, and we'll set this up as soon as possible. Okay. Other than that,
Mr. Chairman?
yes.
Before
Scott,
you
yeah.
adjourn,
Yes.
excuse me.
Go ahead.
Ms. Auger, the head of the union, Everett Teachers Union, has asked for a date to do negotiations, the contract, to write up the contracts.
To write up the contracts.
I don't have the email with me.
Who's left?
Who's left, Mr. Shaw?
We still have.
The secretaries?
The clerical, the paraprofessionals, and the custodial.
Custodians.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think she's requesting to open negotiations up
Open
for
negotiations
all
with that.
three of us.
Okay, all right.
Thank you,
All
Mr.
right.
Chairman.
Excellent, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's got to happen sooner rather than later. That's been put off for a while.
Mr. Galvin can,
Very
because
good.
he has to be there as well.
I'll contact Mr.
So-
Galvin.
So he,
Okay. Other than that? Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The school committee is adjourned.